Interns back there on the hay. They were on this paddock yesterday. They moved them over to that paddock over there. We're gonna see how they do the lines.
About 30% clover in here, folks. Now, I'm not seeing it.
Where they were.
Now, right here we've got quite a bit.
They are.
But I'll look around across the field.
He just took down the gate, had the wire up top. You see it across there.
I will. Everybody come on into the herd. They're used to people. Come on in.
So don't touch the wire.
Yeah, there's some flies, but not that many.
Yeah, this is the worst fly load we've had the whole summer.
I got hit by flies.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Folks, these cows were given half their normal paddock this morning, and Ben and Isaac have the wire. Which end is the reel on? Wire out of it. Once we get them on to the new piece of grass where they're grazing, we'll walk through them and I can show you kind of some things that we look for in good grass genetic cattle. I'll show you some good ones and some bad ones. Bulls, heifers, some of the calves this year, what to look for. Maybe, we're probably not going to find a death triangle in any of these cattle. That triangle being where they got limited, they didn't get enough to eat. Probably not going to see that. So they're headed, they're following him right now.
They're gonna start moving that way. He's taking down.
And he's going to reel back a single wire. And it looks like we've got a new calf over there. Way over there on the corner. Yeah. So what happens in a mob, when you have a mob this size, the new mother, folks, we don't wean. So she still had her calf on her from last year. Well, they always leave the herd to go calf, and so she's already weaned her calf off from last year. The baby always gets the colostrum that way, and that's kind of what happens in nature. There's nobody out there weaning the white-tailed fawn, yearling fawn off the mother. They just wean them. So we kind of like to follow nature if we can. That's a perfect cow. Some of the cows will have a little runnier stool, and that's because they're eating more clover than grass.
Opened up the gate down here, so they're all going this direction.
Excess protein.
He said they always go to the far end of the paddock first, and then they turn back and graze it.
If cattle put their head down and immediately start grazing when you open the gate, you should have moved them an hour earlier. When it rains. Look at the big old.
And one cool thing, when it rains, it forces the air out, so there's an air exchange underground, so it gets fresh air. So, and you want 50% of the pore space to be moisture or water, and then 50% air. And like we said earlier, 5% organic matter. I feel like if you test the top 2 inches of this, it's going to be a 6 or a 7 on organic matter. Have you tested any of this?
We've got some over 5 now.
Yeah, that's cool. When you get, for some reason, the soil, I guess because you're building nutrients and it's got a higher charge, when you build organic matter, it begins to get a little tighter with its nutrients because it can hold on to them. But that 4 and 5% organic matter is a great place to release nutrients. And that's where we can hit pretty easy in this area. Not easy, but we can get there.
She just keeps popping out a calf every year. So we call those type calf getters. We don't sell those calves as breeding stock. They're just, a steer or something you butcher as grass-finished beef. But look at the condition on her. I mean, she's fat. And so I asked Ian this question from Africa. I said, Ian, what do you use as a culling strategy? And he goes, the function of an animal It's to perform into which the environment it was born. And so if that cow can give you a calf without any excess outside purchased inputs other than mineral, she has a home on my ranch. And that's what he calls for. We're a little bit more strict than that. I look at a calf, if she gives me what we call a dink calf, I would call the cow. A dink calf is one that, there's one walking around here.
Is it right there?
Yeah, that's a bottle calf. My sister took over that. We would have sold that calf right when the cow committed suicide. But she wanted, she was traveling, they're staying here this summer. It gave her a project, and, it's worth family for that. But we're not going to winter that calf. A bottle calf never, ever can compete with a mama. That's because that bottle calf is not getting milk 5 to 7 times a day. It's got colostrum in it. You're getting it out of a bag. So she'll never grow out. But there's some really nice calves. And let's go ahead and walk into the herd. Here's a nice bull over here on the left, on that fence line. That's a yearling bull. He's going to be a really nice one next year. Here's a brand new calf in front of us. That calf is less than a week old, about a week old. Now, people, you're looking at calves all different ages in here. So here's what we do. And I'm not going to tell you this is what you need to do, but this is what we're doing. So I read an article by Alan Savory several years ago, and he goes, why are we taking the bull away from his family? The bull is the protector of the herd. He's the monarch. He's the protector, just the head of the family. And I'm like, he's probably right. He said, if a cow calves outside your calving season, sell the cow. Don't take the bull away from his family. So I came home and told Jan, I said, we're going to do this. She goes, it sounds like a wreck. And I should have listened to Jan. But we did it for 3 years. And it worked really good for 2. And then the 3rd year we got a true winner. And those cows started calving in January, February with 2 foot of snow on the ground. 10 below 0. About 16 dead calves later, I thought Alan Savory's full of crap. He lives in Zimbabwe. They don't have winters there. Okay? So let's be careful what you read. It's not universal. But he intrigued me enough that, in nature, the white-tailed doe is not, they don't really separate too much. They do it naturally. Well, so we take the bulls out now March 1st, and they don't go back in until July 1st. That keeps us out of most of our winter calving now.
How do you do that on a smaller place? Like here, you can just take them here, and the bulls aren't around the cows. But if you got a smaller farm, it's all one thing.
Yeah.
What do you
got a smaller farm, you're going to have some pretty good fence to keep the bull from getting into the heifers. Because if they can smell them, they're probably going to try and go. But a bull will respect hot wire. It makes him forget about relationships when he gets 10,000 volts on his nose.
Even single wire?
No, I wouldn't trust a single wire to keep a bull out of heifers. I would go probably 3, just to be safe. Yeah.
What are the months again?
I take the bulls out March 1st and then go back in July 1st.
Okay.
That's what we do. This is the 2nd year we've done that. Folks, we calved out about 70% of our cow herd in April, May by doing that. The rest of them are fall calvers. Grandma, she's in here, the old cow. She's the only cow in here that doesn't have a tag. And that old cow moved up 60 days this year. She's 20 years old, had 18 calves, and she moved up. In other words, she bred back sooner than she should have. Just a freak.
How far do you like to keep the bulls from the...
How far what?
You separate them. About how far apart do you like to keep the bulls?
You can have bulls on the same farm with the cows. You're just going to have at least 3 hot wires to keep them from going over. Yeah, and don't take, here's a mistake a lot of people make, and I know you don't have the option, some of you, but if you're going to take a bull and separate him from the cows, for goodness sake, put a steer in there with him. Because they get mean. It changes their attitude. They're not happy with you. These are herd animals. They need a buddy. Maybe it's an old broken down cow or something, but put something in there with him. Don't isolate him. And they can get kind of nasty. They just like, you know what? I'm peeved and I'm not a very happy camper anymore. keep something with them. Maybe a sheep. Just something. They need something with them. You don't want hairy testicles on your bull. And you want the testicles on each side to be shaped perfectly and matched. In other words, you don't want a nut on the left or one on the right that are mismatched. That's a lopsided nutted bull. And his daughters are going to have messed up udders. So you keep heifers out of that bull, they're going to have what they call a tilted udder. If you use a bull that's got hair on his testicles, the heifers are going to have hair on their udder. Hair on the udder of a cow is a bad thing to have. When a baby calf is born and they got a lot of hair, guess what? Baby calf can't find the teeth. They're buried in the hair. And if a tilted udder, that means the teeth are going forward like this. They're pointing toward the front leg. It's hard for a calf to get on those. They should be hanging straight down.
What do teats on testicles mean?
What's that?
What are the teats on testicles
Yeah,
mean?
teats on testicles. A teat on testicle, that's a very inferior trait. It messes up the udders on your cow. You should not have teats on the udder of your bull. Absolutely not. They can be on the stomach. You got 6-headed cows, that's awesome. You know what that tells you?
How thick the grass is.
So a 6-headed cow, that means that cow, thanks for pulling that by the way, a 6-headed cow is going to have a higher level of butter fat. A really good cow should put out 250 pounds of butter fat during her full lactation till weaning. The problem we have today with the beef industry is we've bred cows to put out a lot of milk. And so the baby calves get on the cow, they suck, and they're full. They never get to the cream. The butter fat is at the very end. When you're milking a cow, I stripped out a cow. My dad always taught me, I milked a cow for the whole time I was home. He said, son, make sure you get the end of it. That's where we got our cream for our butter. And the calf is the same way. So the calves today are filling up on just fluid milk, and they're not getting the butter fat. The butter fat that puts the growth on makes a good animal.
Rick, how about a cow like this? Is kind of a small udder.
I like that. This one right here, walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, that's what you want. Those nice little teeth hanging straight down.
A lot of time the milk capacity is up inside of her. It's not always down.
Yeah, and the calves hit on them to get that milk. Folks, look at this cow right here. Is that A2?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
It is.
A2 is a beautiful cow. She's about 48 inches tall at the tail head. She's as wide as she is tall. People say, but Greg, your cows have a lot of gut. I'm like, yeah. Learn to love gut. The other thing is you can open up a newspaper under that cow. You can't read it. It's touching the ground. Did you all know that space there between the belly and the ground, what's the sell for it?
No.
Nothing. You're selling air. That's just fat. She's got a calf sucking on her. She won't have a calf until next year. Yeah. Folks, a cow that goes in the winter looking like A2, you're on easy street, folks. I'm telling you. She can milk that calf all winter long, and she's going to lose about a body condition. Let's say she goes in. Greg, would you say she's a 7 right now?
Yeah, definitely.
By March, the end of March, she might be down to a 5. Folks, cows that get thin going through the winter, when they do calve in the spring, they're not going to breed back on cycle. You know why? They're too thin. They don't have time. They don't have time to put all that weight back on. So a cow that's emancipated, looks like you have them in a prisoner camp, didn't get enough to eat, that's a cow that's going to call itself out of your herd.
But you're not wanting them any higher than a 7, are you?
No higher than a 7.
Why is that?
Because they get really roly-poly fat, and they build fat in the mammary glands of the actual teats and the udder. They don't breed, and it cuts down on their milk. And a heifer, that's the silliest thing you can do, just to feed a heifer grain. You've ruined that heifer's milk production for her life. Either a late fall last year, or it could be an early spring calf. Let me get the number on her ear tag. Look how thick-hided she is. What is it?
520?
No, the heifer.
Oh, 16.
So yeah, that's our numbering system. So O means 2020, O. Okay. 16 means that's the 16th calf that was born this spring. Pretty simple. Now some people will write the cow tag number on the calf, or on the tag of the calf. I don't want to write all those numbers down. I just write the zero. So I have a calving chart, Ben and Isaac have one. We record the day they were born, the cow ID tag, the calf tag, and whether it's a heifer or a bull. Period. That's it. We do keep a spreadsheet on our computer. We have a running total so we know exactly how many steers, how many bulls, how many heifers. And once a heifer calves, they go up into the cow herd. So they're a heifer, and of course, until they calve. Then we keep a culling sheet. Why they were culled. Did they lose a calf? Did they develop fescue foot? Did they have a bad udder? Or we just don't have anything that has a bad temperament anymore. We got rid of all those early on. And I would suggest you all do the same thing. If you've got a cow that tries to kill you, oh, she's just being a good mom. No, she's not. She's an animal, a wild animal that needs to be made into hamburgers. The animal you want to look at, it's to the left.
Why is it on the left?
Because when you sit on the cow, it's on your left. Just remember that.
That's inside the rumen zone.
That's the way the rumen is situated, the stomach. There's an indentation on her right side, but that doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
That hip bone right there that her tail keeps swatting at. It's right in front of that hip bone. If that's sunken in like a cereal bowl, you should have moved those cows 2 to 3 hours earlier or given them a bigger area. And if you continue to do that, that cow's not even going to cycle. She's not going to get bred.
And it feels that fast?
Yes, in one grazing cycle you can mess it up.
Oh my.
But don't keep doing that. You can see it, just give them a bigger area or move them sooner. There's a cow grazing looking at us coming up the hill. Look at her left side. She just turned her head that. That cow is flush. See how flush she is? There's no indentation there at all. Learn to look at
on it.
She has 30 acres.
Lots of chickens, bees. But one thing I was thinking about when you were saying smaller animals is really good for us as direct marketers because I sell my fillets for $27 a pound. And so a smaller fillet sells better. So I don't want huge steaks. My customers don't want they don't want a $50 ribeye.
if they buy half a beef, that's going to go to waste. You have room to put 500 pounds in your refrigerator freezer?
Diversity.
She also takes wool to product. So by knitting and she'll take it in yogurt, cow shares.
Something else I'd like to show, see that one baby calf out there right in front of us? It's eating grass. Many people don't think they can eat grass. By like day 4, they're learning to eat grass from their mamas.
And a bottle calf will take a month or 2 to even get any grass. It's because they don't have a mama to watch and teach them. Yep.
That's why we leave them together and they learn.
This is an idyllic setting. This is our favorite time of the day. You saw how long it took to move them. People say, but I'm not going to go through all that work of getting them up and rounding up cowboys and getting the hot shot out. You don't need to do any of that. These animals get trained.
How quick?
Real quick, within a week. Folks, we've got about 40-some bulls in here, anywhere from, let's say, 5 months old all the way up to 3. That bull is turning his nose up right there. That's a 3-year-old bull. That's the oldest bull in here, and he's sold. He's just a wonderful specimen of an animal. I think that's 720. The boys could tell better. They're really sharp. Isaac, is that 720 right there?
That's 87.
Okay. Sorry about that, James. Where is 720?
I haven't seen him yet.
Okay. He's probably got a cow segregated somewhere.
Did James buy 7?
Yeah. Anyway, Yeah, the wrinkles on the tail head. So that the tail head where it comes off the animal, you like to see at least 3 wrinkles on the tail head. That tells you that the animal is ready to process, to turn into meat. If they don't have 3 wrinkles, they're probably not finished. Also the brisket on the front of the steer, or maybe it's a slaughter heifer. The brisket needs to be filled out. If it's not filled out, that animal's not ready to butcher.
Is it filled out on this one that he's coming up?
That's a cow. Yeah, she's pretty good. Let's look at her tail. Oh, she's got some good fat on her tail. Yep. That would probably be a pretty good eating experience. She's already putting on a little bit of winter haircut. We've gotten them in the 40s a few nights. It's amazing, folks. They can be slick as a button. And you catch 2 or 3 nights of 40, man, boom, there it is. So how'd you do that so quick? So people say, how far can you run the South Pole up north? Well, one like that, I wouldn't be afraid to go clear to the Canadian border with her, but the ones out there in front of us, those real slick, oily ones, I wouldn't sell that cow to Minnesota. She's not going to grow enough here. So watch your hair coats. The really slick, oily ones, keep them south of Missouri and further south. Don't go up into Wisconsin and
8:14.
now remember what the day is at the first time. If you're scheduled. So if you work in town, I would move it probably before I went to work. If you are got an open schedule and you move them at, let's say, 10 o'clock in the morning, I prefer that. Maybe you're only going to move them once. That's the highest bricks in the grass. Where's, you got your refractometer on? I saw it. Now this guy's got a refractometer with him. But you don't have the garlic. You do? Oh, it's got garlic. Cool. So we're gonna find a sample here to take out the bricks. The bricks is the sugar content. So this thing he's got in the pan. What's that? Why is the bricks important? Well, it tells you directly what your animals are eating. The higher the sugar content, the faster they put on weight.
Just like us.
Yep. You eat death by chocolate at 9 o'clock and go to sleep. You may weigh a couple ounces heavier in the morning. So we'll do that. We'll do a bricks reading. So the ultimate time is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you're going to do that at the refractometer, you've got to take it at the same time each day, or it really doesn't mean anything. Let's say you take it at 9 o'clock in the morning. The sun hasn't been out very long. The bricks is going to be lower than it is at 2.
I just
on
grabbed
the same plate. Yeah, so he's got the ultimate right there. Those vice grips.
That's it.
Yeah. So you put your sample in there, you squeeze it, and then the juice goes onto that plate. And there's a reading on there. It goes from 0 to 30. And you can hold it up against the sunlight. You can see the reading. So he's going to grab the test cube and water it up into a ball. Really get it tight. There's going to be a green juice come out of that test cube.
And what's that that you have in your hand? What is that one called?
This is Kentucky 31.
That instrument, that metal.
Refractometer.
No,
Well,
that's
usually you use a garlic press. He's made something with some what is it called?
Vice grips.
Oh, okay, because I've never seen.
Yes.
Pamper Chef's garlic press works really good.
Does it? I was wondering what you
A
could
lot of
use.
mine would disappear.
You gotta close it all the way up. No. And you gotta reach above is equal to 1 pound of gain. 1 pound of gain a day.
We got 8 little guys.
Y'all get that? 7 and above. If you go to 8, that's 1.1. If you go to 9, that's 1.2 pounds a day. If you go from 1 to 2, I'm sorry, you go from 7 to 14. Now we're not at 1 pound a day gaining, we're at 2. You're gaining double, from 7 to 14. If you go to 20, 14, 21, now you're up to 3 pounds a day. So that's a big deal. I mean, if you're going to average 2 pounds a day gain on your calves on grass, you're not going to home run. I mean, you certainly are. You got to push down on that. There you go. Now hold it up to the sunlight. There should be a direct line between the meetings.
We got 8 a minute ago.
You got 8 a while ago?
On fish.
Maybe easier if you take your glasses
What's
off.
that? This is fescue.
It's got
Yeah,
clover
I'm
in it,
reading
too.
7 or 8, but
Okay. Yep. That's what you're at.
that's about what I get at home.
So that, you know, fall stockpile fescue. Yeah. Pound a day. I'd believe that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the bottle fed calf. Go pet it. So he's being bottle fed because his mother passed away. Nice and soft. Getting that. Getting that one.
That's been 3 now, 3 weeks ago. And they weighed 602 pounds. And they were red. Some of them had red, white face. And they would have went from 500 pounds up to probably 7, but they averaged 602. So what we do is we go to the Missouri Weekly Feeder Calf sheet, which is on the USDA website, and every Friday they publish what number ones in all weight classes from 400 pounds all the way up to 1,000 pounds. And so whatever weight class we're selling, we look at that, and that's what we get. Now, we get the top price, and they're red-hided, and here's the deal though. We don't pay any sales commission, we don't take any shrink, we're not paying a vet, we're not paying yardage, we're not paying, you name it. All this, well, you don't have to pay for hauling them either. That's a big cost. You know, if you haul an animal sale barn and you got to pay for it, that's $10 to $15 a head. Time you get done, they're getting about $30 on every animal you sell. Well, if you sell 50 of them, we're talking real money. That's $2,500. So we're looking at selling steers in the fall because we are in the seed stock business. That is our main profit center. We can raise really nice looking animals that are grass genetic. We have a 2-year waiting list right now for females. Yeah. Yes?
You said 3 times red-hided cattle.
Yeah, so right now, you know, the black-hided animals, if you go to a sale barn, most of the animals you see through the sale barn are black. And the Black Angus Association has done a masterful job. You've all heard it. Certified Black Angus. And so if it's not black, you may get a little bit of a call being a red one or a white one or a purple one or whatever. That prejudice is going away.
Really?
Yep, they're starting. I've seen some red heifers actually bring more per head than black ones now. Now, it's just starting, but I don't think that prejudice is going to be there forever. But right now it is, pretty much. You know, if you got black, they're going to bring a little bit more per pound than the red one, especially a Hereford-looking one. I don't see any that are completely Hereford-looking. Yeah, that little heifer right there. She's got white on her belly. She's got white on her head. It's a red with a solid white face. Now, they would look at that and go, okay, you've crossed the red Angus with a Hereford. You're not going to get the dock. But if you bring a pure Hereford in there, I've seen it. They're going to knock you $100 to $200 a head, won't they?
I sold one for $1 a pound for
Yeah.
white steers.
And there wasn't anything wrong with him.
Everybody else
Yep.
did significantly higher
Yep.
than that one steer.
Folks, you can bring a whole herd, a whole pen full of calves in, and they're all 500 pounders, every one of them. But guess what? One of them has a white streak on his side. A white streak. They're going to sort him out, and they're going to pay you $100 less because he had a white streak.
Why?
Because he's different. And they can.
We like to be different.
They can eat steak on you that night, Rickson. Yeah. Now, Bud Williams had a really good. Bud Williams had a great strategy for this. He said, "There's a living to be made out here. Go to the sale barn and pick out the ones that they don't want, the ones that got a white spot on them. Bring them all home and put a whole pen of them together, and then bring them back in. They can't sort them. They're all got a white streak on them. Every one of them. And you'll get top price for that group of animals. Because there's nothing there to sort out. They all look the same. So
What'd you say? Now you said the sale barn, and his other question was to direct to market. What's your pricing on that?
yeah, so direct market, those steers we sold the other day, they were 602 pounds. We got $1.68 a pound for it. No commission. I like that. I mean, we got a really nice check for 25 animals. Now, Jan, if we would have held on to them and finished them as steers, you sold the steer the other day. What'd you get for it, the whole steer? Like 1,700? So I can sell a 602 pounder. Somebody got a calculator? What is that? 602 times $1.68.
About 1,000. Yeah.
1,000 bucks. So I could have held on to that steer for another year. Remember, he's 600 pounds. I've got a wintering. So now you got hay in him. You got more grass. What if I had a female out there, a female heifer that was bred, eating the same grass that steer's eating? She's going to give you a baby. That steer's not going to give you a baby. So you got to realize kind of what business you're in. You're in the business of selling grass. How can you maximize, like Debbie's doing? She's making yogurt. You're selling raw milk, aren't you, Debbie?
Yep.
You got to find a way to add value, and maybe that's raising superior animals on grass. Maybe that's raising really nice fat animals that have a lot of CLA in the fat. Maybe you've done some testing that they're all prime. You can guarantee them to be tender. Carve out your niche. Don't be an order taker. I'm sorry, don't be a price taker. You set your price.